What is up, guys? Welcome to our little draft analysis. Obviously the draft was last week, so we've come up with some of our feelings and thoughts to do with the draft.
We're going to talk about the top 10 draft picks, so the upper half of the lottery, and also a couple of interesting players outside of that, which we picked ourselves and we thought they'd be
like special players, sleepers within the draft. So let's get into it. So with the number one pick, Phoenix Suns selected DeAndre Atten.
Of course they did. I don't think that was any surprise there, was
No,
it?
everyone knew what was coming, to be honest.
DeAndre Atten, he's a double-double machine coming out of Arizona. So obviously he's based in Arizona already, which is the home of the Phoenix Suns.
Hometown, he's probably going to be a hometown favourite, most likely.
He also grew up in Arizona, around that area. He came over from the Bahamas, I believe it was.
No idea.
I'm not too sure, but he's kind of... He got into basketball late, and he's a man among boys.
But
really.
all that matters is that he's an extremely dominant big man.
Yeah, he has crazy stats right here.
So Devin Booker actually said he thinks they're going. Devin Booker said that he thinks they are going to be the new Shaq and Kobe duo, which I could actually see happening.
I mean, I don't think they'll be to that level, but it's a similar kind of dynamic you get with the shooting guard in the center.
So in college, he got 20 points. 11 rebounds?
Yep, 11.6.
1.6 steals, which is quite good for a guy as big as he is.
And almost 2 blocks as well.
Which is very impressive.
I think it's impressive too.
Slight questions with his game. Apparently he's lacking on the defensive end. But that's work ethic. You know, you can work hard at that. And I believe he does have a good work ethic. So I don't have many questions about him.
He definitely has potential on the defensive end. He has the physical tools to do just about anything he wants in this NBA.
So with the number one pick, Phoenix definitely picked a player with an extremely bright future.
With the number 2 pick in the draft, the Sacramento Kings selected Marvin Bagley III.
So Marvin Bagley, he's a player with amazing athleticism. He's an amazing athlete. He's got really good scoring instincts. He's got a developing jumper, and he's got a high rebounding potential.
His jumper's looking very good from the outside, like you said. He hit a fair few of them for Duke this year. He won ACC Player of the Year this year, actually. So he got a bit of recognition from that. And like you said, rebounding ability. It's quite a niche little ability, but he has this ability with his second jump to kind of get up really high and get the rebound.
That's obviously really impressive. He's going to be running alongside De'Aaron Fox, and then I think they're going to be a great duo, similar to Booker and Atten.
Yeah, like
both good athletes, fast. Stats?
Marvin Bagley III had 21 points, 11.1 rebounds, 1.5 assists, and 64% effective field goal percentage.
So that's definitely extremely impressive because he was on Duke, which it's not like he was carrying them. It is a respectable team. So to achieve these stats on a respectable team is, of course, very difficult.
These are very, very similar stats to DeAndre Atten that we just talked about, but I feel like they might be slightly different players.
Well, and similarly to DeAndre Atten, one of the main concerns for Marvin Bagley is his defense. So that could lead to questions in the future, but you don't know yet. So hopefully he's another guy who's going to work hard and just develop this good defensive effort.
Yeah, because he has a high upside. That athlete has always potential to be a good defender.
Similarities with him in past NBA players?
All he says it's KG, I think.
I read somewhere that comparisons with Kevin Garnett, which is very interesting.
Power forward that can he's obviously very athletic and has a bit of versatility about him. He's got a jumper. And I think if he becomes anywhere near as good as KG, then the Kings have made a very good pick at number 2.
So the next pick with number 3, Atlanta picked Luka Doncic and then traded him to Dallas. So I know you have a lot of strong feelings towards this guy, so tell us about him.
I think Luka Doncic should have been the second pick.
Okay.
Regardless of whether or not it was the Kings with the second pick or whatever. I just think he's a brilliant player, and the way he was sliding in a lot of mock drafts, I thought was quite disrespectful. He has an incredible resume. He's done everything there is in Europe, and he's only 19 years old. It is spectacular. The best European prospect ever, in my opinion.
Jeez. But of course there are also downsides to him, such as lack of athleticism, and again I think problems with his defense.
Yeah, seems to be a recurring theme with these top picks.
Yeah, but throughout his season, he got 14 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists on 53% shooting, And although they may not be extremely impressive, as you said, it's in the second best league in the world. So for a 19-year-old
in Europe, stats like this are very impressive because it's more of a team-based kind of passing game around there. So like they share a lot of the load on the bench.
It's
and everything.
very impressive.
Yeah, as a 19-year-old, like wow, I cannot stress enough how good this guy is. Yeah, honestly.
So Dallas definitely picked up an amazing player to run alongside Dennis Smith Jr. Comparisons, who do you think he plays like?
I think he plays like himself. Honestly,
Really?
I think he's because he's a massive shooting guard, 6'8". He can just kind of he can run the game. He's incredibly mature at his age.
For his age,
and he's just only going to develop. I'm so looking forward to seeing him in the NBA. Honestly, with the 4th pick in the NBA draft, the Memphis Grizzlies selected Jaren Jackson Jr.
So Jaren Jackson Jr. He's more of a modern NBA big man, and he has great defense, which the other prospects were lacking. So he's got a large wingspan, 7'5", I believe. So obviously he's an amazing shot blocker. However, there are questions about his rebounding and his effort. But the Memphis Grizzlies, I think they need a player like this, and it's a good sign for their future.
I think this pick is a very safe bet for Memphis because the 3 picks above this, they perhaps are gambling on higher upside. They definitely have higher upside than Jaren Jackson Jr. But I think right now he looks like the safest bet. Yeah, definitely.
You know what you're going to get with him, which is really good. So I believe he's beginning to get a jump shot. He should be a good 3-point shooter.
He has odd shooting mechanics, but it seems to work. We don't know if it'll work yet in the NBA because college game's different, obviously. But hopefully it does. Hopefully he can make it work.
What player do you think he plays like?
Taj Gibson, maybe.
Ooh, okay.
I don't know, but obviously
a
pumped up Taj Gibson. Taj Gibson, he has
good defense.
He's a glue guy, kind of. That's what I'm kind of trying to get at here. Jaren Jackson Jr. is a player which can he can be a role player, but perhaps like a bit more than a role player.
Yeah,
a bit like Draymond Green, but not
in the style of
not in the style of Draymond Green, but like in the style of Draymond Green. If you get what I mean, like
to be honest,
the way he keeps the Warriors together, but not in the way he plays. That's what I mean.
Yeah, I agree. I see him as like a Taj Gibson with a jump shot from the 3, which is definitely good. Overall, I think it's a good pick because it signals a new like beginning for the Grizzlies.
Very young player in the draft as well, one of the youngest.
He's only 18, so he has a lot of upside in comparison to people like Mikkel Bridges who are 22, which I think is definitely good.
He had a crazy amount of blocks in college, this guy.
I believe he averaged 3 a game, which again just shows you how much of a good defender he is, how much of a glue guy he is. He sticks to his man, which I believe is solid. He's a very solid prospect.
He had 11 points, 6 rebounds, and 1.1 assists per game, which on those stats don't like jump off the page at you, but as we've said 1,000 times before, this guy he does more than his stats.
Definitely. So up next, the Mavericks selected Trae Young, and then they traded him to Atlanta. So Trae Young, he's got comparisons to Steph Curry. He's quite small, around 6 foot, 6'1", but his main thing is he's an amazing 3-point shooter.
Incredible, like the way he was pulling up from all across the floor for Oklahoma this year. It was sensational to see.
At the beginning of the college season, he seemed unstoppable, perhaps the best point guard in the draft. But as the season progressed, teams started to figure him out, and then his points dropped.
Yeah, that seemed to be the problem that went on throughout the season. He did decline. These teams kind of realized how they could use their defenses against him. They knew the way he would play every single time, and because it was like quite repetitive, it worked obviously. But
just pulling up from deep. He also has a very nice crossover. He's got good ball handling. Probably one of the best passes in this draft.
Yeah, definitely. You could make an argument for him being the best playmaker in this draft, I reckon.
Yeah, but although he has all this upside, he also has some downside. So as I said, he is quite small, and then his body type seems quite small as well. However, although in this kind of off-season, he's progressed tremendously, he's bulked up, which is a good sign. Yeah,
he's definitely bulked up. You see some of those videos on Instagram and everything. You see him working out, and it looks like he has changed from his college season, which is nice to see. Yeah, the Hawks will like to see that. Yeah.
Another negative point with him is his lack of defense.
That could just be from the system that he was in Oklahoma, though, because he was by far the standout player on that Sooners team, and his coach kind of allowed him to just take breaks on defense, which maybe meant that he couldn't showcase his full potential there, and we'll only see that when he gets the NBA and he has to be playing great defense every time down the floor, because he won't be that star piece, or maybe as much so as he was in Oklahoma.
So throughout the season, he averaged 27.4 points, 3.9 rebounds, which is quite good for an undersized player like he is, 8 assists on 51.9% shooting. So obviously a great offensive prowess, but he could also have defensive downsides. So Trae Young is quite a convoluted, a difficult prospect.
He's polarizing, definitely.
Yeah. So comparisons?
Steph Curry, obviously, like we said, but something I saw somewhere was Steph Curry or Seth Curry. That illustrates how polarizing he can be. No disrespect against Seth Curry. I think he's a great player.
Either a franchise player or a sixth man type of guy.
Yeah. He definitely has. He can go either way, really. With the number 6 pick in the NBA draft, the Orlando Magic selected Moe Bamba.
So, Moe Bamba, a great defensive big man. He's got a 7'10", 7'11"
It's
wingspan.
otherworldly. It's ridiculous.
So obviously he's got great potential as a shot blocker, and his whole thing is defense. So there are questions about his offense, but he's another guy who's been putting a lot of work in the off season to develop this offensive game.
Some of the videos you've seen on Instagram are him kind of working out in the same way Joel Embiid did a few years back, and we know how well that turned out. So if he turns out anywhere near that good, the Magic are in for a treat, I reckon.
So as we said, Moe Bamba's got incredible length. He's going to be an amazing defender. However, due to him being quite skinny with his frame, there are questions about if he'll be able to stand up to NBA big men. Also, he's lacking in intensity, and then occasionally he doesn't run back quickly enough on defense.
What do you think his comparison is?
Ooh. Jeez, I don't really know if we've ever seen a big man that's as big, that's as good as he is, but simply with what he does. Perhaps a better version of Nerlens Noel.
That's a really odd one, Ollie, but
a good athletic big man who specializes in defense.
Hopefully he turns out better than Nerlens Noel.
Yeah. What about you?
I think Rudy Gobert. Defensive Player of the Year just recently. He definitely has a potential to be that kind of that anchor, that stifle tower, like Rudy Gobert is called, in the heart of a very impressive NBA defense. The Magic haven't really had that recently. Maybe he could just elevate their game.
Well, as you said, the problem is with the Magic is they've got a logjam at center. So they've got Nikola Vucevic, who's quite tall but he's not good on defense, and they've got Bismack Biyombo, who's quite small but he specializes in defense. So of course they're most likely going to trade away one of these pieces.
They're going to have to move one of them, definitely.
Yeah, but throughout the season, Moe Bamba got 13 points, 10 rebounds, 0.5 assists on 56% shooting. It's not incredibly impressive.
I think those are very impressive.
Okay, it is impressive.
4 blocks a game if you round up, and he's averaging double-double rather.
But well. I think he has incredible potential to become one of the best players in the NBA. Well, okay, best big men.
A future D-point, in my opinion. Yeah. With the 7th pick in the NBA draft, the Chicago Bulls selected Wendell Carter Jr. out of Duke.
So Wendell Carter Jr., as you said, he played alongside Marvin Bagley, so his stats might be kind of reduced, but he's a thick-framed big man and he's good. He's an all-rounder. He's quite versatile, I believe.
He's incredibly versatile as a big man. I'd say his comparison might be Al Horford, is what you kind of think of in today's NBA. He doesn't have any particular discernible weakness. These 6 above him that were picked before him, I think we all managed to find a weakness in all of them, but it's hard to really find one very glaring in Wendell Carter Jr.'s game. He had 13.5 points per game,
9 rebounds, 2 assists on 59% shooting,
and 2 blocks.
So of course that's very respectable. So he's a good defender. And Chicago, so I believe their centers at the moment are Robin Lopez and Christian, the Chicago Bull or whatever.
Christian Felicio.
Yeah. So obviously not 2 amazing centers, so Wendell Carter should have quite a probably a starting space on the new roster.
He has a good situation in which to grow. He'll definitely. The Chicago Bulls aren't the best team at the moment, are they? And I think they might be looking to him quite a bit.
Yeah, so definitely a good sign for Chicago because they have Zach LaVine, Chris Dunn, a young team on the come up. So with the number 8 pick, the Cleveland Cavaliers selected Collin Sexton.
You like this guy, don't you, Ollie?
Yeah, so Collin Sexton, he's an incredibly athletic point guard. Kind of undersized, 6'1", 6'2", so that does lead to questions. Not the best jump shot, but as we said, he's incredibly athletic and a great defender.
How do you think he's going to fit in Cleveland?
Well, I think they selected Collin Sexton because they don't think LeBron is going to stay there. So this is going to give them a decent player for the future. So instead of trading away that pick and getting someone, they got a really good young player. So obviously the Cavs already have kind of logjam at the point guard, Jordan Clarkson, George Hill. So they'll probably end up trading those guys away and making Collin Sexton a core piece of their roster.
Yeah, Cavs definitely need to start that rebuilding process after LeBron because he will be leaving this summer. I think it's almost guaranteed at this point. And Collin Sexton is, as a point guard, it's obviously a very important position in the NBA, especially now. So that, to have that player to build around, Collin Sexton could be that guy. It's very important for them.
It's very important. So in the season, Collin got 19 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists on 50% shooting, which is really good for his team. I don't know what team he played for.
Alabama.
Okay, he played for Alabama.
Alabama.
But I saw a video of him playing against Trey Young in the season, and he kicked his ass because Trey Young just wasn't really ready to play against someone that's as intense as him. So Collin Sexton has great potential as a defender, as I said earlier.
Sometimes he makes kind of bad decisions on the court, though. He forces up shots which are ill-advised, but he can work on that as he matures. He's obviously still a very young player, as are all these guys. But definitely a piece the Cavs can build around.
So comparisons?
Well, De'Aaron Fox, who came into the league just last year, of course. He's obviously an incredibly athletic player as well that would drive to the rim. He has a jumper, but it's not maybe the best, so I think those are probably the best comparisons right now.
Of course, links to De'Aaron, perhaps like John Wall, but of course that's a huge reach. But that's about, you summed up really well with De'Aaron Fox as a comparison.
Yeah, definitely. I always get used kind of when I see highlight reels of the two of them, I kind of they both have like big hair and like they play the same kind of position. I always kind of used to get confused with that.
But anyway, Collin Sexton has a great future with the Cavs, and he should be an extremely exciting player. So watch out for him. New York, my team, selected Kevin Knox. What university did he go to?
He went to Duke.
Okay.
No, Kentucky.
So a small forward out of Kentucky. He's quite an instinctual scorer, good at runners, good around the basket, everything like that. Questions about his how hard he tries on defense, which of course questionable, but hopefully in the NBA he'll learn that defensive effort.
Do you think he'll be useful for the Knicks? Do you support the Knicks?
Well, we have a gap in the small forward position. Hopefully he'll be able to fill it with that scoring. Throughout his season, he averaged 15.6 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist on 51% shooting. So it's quite good. Personally, I'd rather have Mikkel Bridges, but apparently the Knicks GM office decided Kevin Knox would be a better player.
Kevin Knox has more of like a star potential, I reckon, than Mikkel Bridges. Mikkel Bridges being stuck in that like kind of.
He also has a very low floor.
Yeah.
So, whereas someone like Mikkel Bridges, which we'll talk about in a minute, he's more of a solid player, you know what you're getting. Kevin Knox is a high potential, high bust kind of guy, which leads to many questions. He was booed on the New York Knicks draft night.
I don't think he was the exciting pick that the Knicks fans wanted.
Yeah, but he's quite raw. Hopefully we can develop him as a player and make him one of our best scorers.
He does have that potential, maybe. We don't know yet.
So with a player like Kevin Knox, we're just going to have to wait and see. He's got all the instincts. He, similar to Collin Sexton, he doesn't take the best shots. He usually settles for mid-ranges. I saw a clip where he definitely should have just ripped it and drove to the left, just gone to the rim. But instead he settled for a contested mid-range jumper. Not the best, but hopefully he develops.
Yeah, decision making will come with maturity.
Yeah.
With the 10th pick in the NBA draft, the Philadelphia 76ers selected Mikkel Bridges out of Villanova. and then promptly traded his draft rights to the Phoenix Suns.
So Mikkel Bridges, again, he's a similar player. You know what you're getting with him. He's 21 years old, about to turn 22. Great 3-and-D player. Similarities to Robert Covington.
Robert Covington's one of his favorite players. Loves that guy.
But just Mikkel Bridges has great defense. He's got good length, so that lends to defense. Good 3-point scorer. He's got potential to drive to the hole. And of course, since he has a good shooting stroke from outside, he should have a good shooting stroke from mid-range. Hopefully that will come with time.
He has seems to have a winning mentality in college as well. He won 2 national titles, which is something most college players these days cannot say, because it's the one and done era kind of at the moment. He stayed in Villanova for 3 years, and he won it 2 years ago, and he won it this year, obviously.
So that being said, that does mean he is older. So that leads to questions about how much further he has to grow, how much potential he has.
Some experts believe he has untapped upside that maybe some people aren't seeing yet. He does have the physical tools, which is ever so important in today's NBA.
However, he is lacking things like ball handling. If he's a 3-and-D small forward, he doesn't necessarily need that. He's got good maneuverability, so he should be able to run off screens. So I think he's got a good future with the Suns.
He's definitely not a player with the kind of all-star MVP kind of potential that other players may have. He's in a way that Draymond Green is. I've already mentioned that kind of before. He's just going to be an elite role player, kind of in that kind of style.
So overall, for Phoenix, that I think they kind of have a logjam at small forward. So what I believe they might run is Devin Booker at the point, maybe Mikkel Bridges at the shooting guard, and Justin Jackson. What's his name?
Josh Jackson.
Josh Jackson at small forward, Dragon Bender, and then whoever their center is. I'm not sure anymore. Oh, DeAndre Atten.
Oh yeah.
Bro, that would be so paying.
This team is gonna
sick
be
lineup.
This team is gonna be very good.
Okay, I did not realize that. Jesus Christ, that's amazing. Anyway, yeah. So Suns, that's gonna be paying.
The Suns definitely finally.
Yeah,
they have that young core.
They've got their shit together. Comparisons for Mikkel, obviously Robert Covington,
and any other kind of your prototypical 3-and-D player that gives you what you need on any night. He can kind of step up, or he can take a step back when other people are taking the workload.
So, Mikkel to Phoenix. Last but not least, Michael Porter Jr. So obviously he was at the start of the season. He was believed to be a top 5,
but maybe even top 1 pick.
Yeah, he was meant to be amazing, but due to all his injuries, he slipped to number 14 to the Nuggets.
His college career in Missouri really did not go to plan, did it?
No. And
I think the Denver Nuggets have found themselves a gem potentially here, but this is the biggest kind of. He could go one way, he could go the other way. Prospect.
I believe what he had was lower back problems. So he had something drilled. He had something removed from his back, which led to him missing out most of the college season. He had, with his draft workout with Chicago, he actually ended up missing it because he couldn't get out of bed because he had back spasms, which of course definitely is not a good sign. There were also reports that on draft night he actually limped onto the stage, but that's expected with his surgery. It's meant to take a long time since the muscles regrowing around his back.
Michael Porter Jr.'s comparison for me has to be Kevin Durant. Yeah. Maybe not to that level, obviously. Kevin Durant is a Hall of Fame level player, and Michael Porter Jr. may not reach that, probably won't reach that, but that's definitely the style of play that he plays with. He's that long, lanky kind of player that can get you the buckets whenever you need them. He was incredible in high school. He could score whenever he wants.
The thing is when he came out of high school, he was touted as the most talented player, and people expected him to definitely be a number 1 pick. But these injuries have just plagued him. Not sure about his future, but he does have amazing scoring potential, as you said.
He's plummeted 13 spots, and he's plummeted 13 spots from that original kind of prediction that he was originally getting, and I don't think there are any other prospects that have changed that much over the last year in such a negative way, which is unfortunate for him, but hopefully he can prove the doubters wrong. He said stuff like that.
So how do you feel about his future in Denver?
Well, Denver, who's their small forward? Chandler?
Wilson Chandler.
I think he can definitely have a place in the starting lineup for years to come.
But the thing I'm thinking with Denver is he won't be expected to carry that team, so I think it's quite good that he's not in the top 5, because then he would be expected to do a lot more, which could lead to more injuries. But since they have Jamal Murray, Will Barton, Nikola Jokic, Paul Millsap, we're all great scorers. He can just slot right in, and he won't have
he can
to
kind of develop in his own time.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
So he won't. That potential injury is going to be greatly lessened by the team he's playing for.
Yeah, definitely. I think the Denver Nuggets could be a good situation for him. He didn't want to drop that low, obviously, but he can make it work.
That's it, guys. Just want to say thank you so much for watching. Hope we'll be coming out with more stuff like this, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah. See you.
Peace.
Not enough, poured up, move to the side. Wanna run